So this weekend I was walking through my local Walmart grabbing some supplies for a war that I was going to over at Captain Xavier's, and I saw on the shelf there's something different here. There's a new blaster in town. And what did I see? A Triggerfire. At first when I saw this blaster I thought, okay, this is just another, prime fire, just run-of-the-mill type of blaster with a drum. So cool, I like drums. But then I started looking at it closer, and I realized there's no priming handle on it. There's no pump grip where you pump action, there's none of that. And I started looking at this thing kind of perplexed. And after reading the box, in particular the name, Triggerfire, I realized it's like the Zombie Strike nail biter, which I got extremely excited because I want to see more blasters with that mechanism. Essentially, if you're not familiar with the Zombie Strike nail biter, that was basically a nail gun looking thing. When you pulled the handle or the trigger system, it would prime a plunger tube, release it, fire the dart, and then index the clip, which was a lot going on in one trigger grab kind of thing. And that's what we have here. Why is this thing so good? Because you can do a one-handed wield on this. So you could essentially wield two of them pretty easy because all the priming's happening right in your hand. Maybe you have a hammer shot in one hand and a Triggerfire in the other. That's an ultimate combo. So the real question is this thing good? How's the performance? So in today's video, we're gonna take this thing outside. We're gonna see how hot this thing is out of the box, and then we're gonna go ahead and just check its overall accuracy and give our final thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now, full disclaimer, I did purchase this blaster. This was not given to me, so I just want to get that out of the way. This is an Adventure Force blaster from Walmart, and what that means is it could be from several different companies. It could be a Buzzbee blaster, it could be a Dart Zone blaster, or it could be from X-Shot. In this case right here, this was built by the toy company Buzzbee. So there's a lot of misconception as to what Adventure Force is. So what happens is when someone sees a Aeon Pro from Adventure Force, they kind of think like, oh, okay, well that's the company that builds all the Adventure Force blasters, and that's not the case. So I just want to put that out there because as you'll see in this blaster, this thing is very different than something you would see that Dart Zone would make or even X-Shot. Buzzbee Toys makes kind of different aesthetic blasters, and some people consider them much cheaper. So why is this important? Well, for number one, whenever looking at a blaster and it's an Adventure Force blaster and you notice on inside here, you'll notice these darts look like the standard Adventure Force dart that is green with a blue tip. But if you can see, these actually have a pointed tip. You might be wondering, why am I showing you all this and going through great length to explain it? It's because when you buy one of these blasters at Walmart, and in particular, something like this, you might want to grab a pack of refill darts. The Adventure Force refill darts, which are green with blue heads, but the difference is they have a waffle tip, which means the tip of the head is kind of squared off and looks like a waffle. Those are really good darts. The darts that are provided in here are okay, but really they're not as accurate and you're not gonna have as good performance as the waffle head darts. So do yourself a favor, if you wanna grab one of these, make sure to grab some waffles with it. So in this video, when I do my testing, I will be primarily just using waffles. I'm not gonna be firing these darts. The reason for this is I've done a lot of testing with these darts and I'm just tired of using them. They're worse than Elite darts. Anyone who watches my channel will know I don't even like Elite darts. Nerf's Elite darts are just complete garbage to me, and these take it a step further and they're actually worse. So go waffle darts. Enough said about that. Let's take a quick look at the package. We can see this is a drum blaster. Like I said earlier, we have the mechanism here and the trigger. Now we see this also comes with a scope, so that's really cool. These are Buzzbee tactical rails, so that's what they fit on. We have kind of a slight area that looks like it wants to be a priming handle and could be more of a sling point. I'm not sure, it's kind of a weird design choice, but I guess we'll just call it a sling point. Then we have the drum and a bunch of darts. So let's go ahead and free this thing from its prison. And I think that's everything of value here. So throw the rest of it away. It says To install the dart drum, hold bolt in the center of the blaster, push forward to release, and remove the bolt from the blaster. I mean, what do you want? Like, I really don't understand. Am I supposed to get a tool in here? I mean, I guess pry it with a screwdriver? Jeez, man. I was like, that's too much pressure. I scratched up the thing. Like, what is it? Was it like glued in? Like, what the I'm trying to, it's real weird. It's like mine was, maybe it was pushed in when it's not supposed to be. That's a weird one. So, I don't know. Anyways, it does appear the way this mechanism works that when you put this in, it has locks, so I don't know how I was able to pull that out, really. Once it's in, it looks like it's kind of in there. And there you have it. After getting this blaster out of the box, we can see it's pretty cool looking, actually. It comes with this sight here, which, to be honest, the way this thing operates, you're not gonna be able to really aim. Now, if this was a pump and prime, and then you could sit there and take aim and then fire. But the issue with it is when you pull this down, you have a tendency to kind of shake the blaster a little bit, so you're really not gonna be able to use this too well. But it is nice that this is a Buzzbee attachment point, and you can use it on something else. So we'll just set that aside. But overall, I'd say this blaster is pretty comfortable considering it's a Buzzbee blaster. It has a lot of grip here, which is nice. They did that so that you have plenty of room to apply, you know, a strong grip to. This could be difficult for a younger child to really operate well because it seems like it uses a lot of hand strength to fire this thing. Once again, look at that pistol grip. That's crazy to me for a Buzzbee blaster. That looks really good. The drum can spin freely, so that's cool. It's not really locked in place, so you can kind of move it around, throw in darts. This is a 30 dart capacity, which is huge. That is a great capacity, so, you know, points for that. It doesn't have a stock, but to be honest, for this type of blaster, I say it doesn't really need it. My only gripe with it really is that I believe the profile of this should be smaller. They should have had this brought up a little closer and maybe taken off some of this, all this material, because this is just all wasted space, essentially. Keeping this more of just a big old pistol would be a lot better. I might be able to modify this in the future to be a lot shorter, and I think it would be just a better platform if it was more in a pistol form, much like the nail biters. I mean, the nail biters were great because you could have two of them. This thing is a little bit large to be doing, you know, single-handed. It is a little bit lighter, but ideally, it should be more of a pistol. As far as ergo is considered in aesthetics, that's pretty much wraps it up. I mean, like I said earlier, you kind of have a sling point here, no stock, you know, do have some Buzzbee rail here, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Up here, pretty comfortable, all things considered, not bad. So let's go ahead and take this thing outside and see how it does. So once again, I just want to say that I'm going to be doing testing with the waffle tips, not the ones that come with this blaster. So let's get some chronograph readings off of the waffle tips. Basically, I have a target at 30 feet. I'm going to go ahead and see how accurate it is. And once again, I am shooting the waffle tips. So in conclusion, what are my final thoughts about this blaster? As we can see, the performance is not crazy, but I want to take a moment to kind of explain something here. I showed the nail biter earlier because I'm trying to set the stage. I'm trying to show you that this is classified as that kind of mechanism blaster. So when you start looking at the performance of it, you got to put it in its own class, much like a hammer shot. You know, if you're going to talk about the performance of a hammer shot, you can't compare it to the performance of a flywheeler. They're just different animals. They're different things. You know, much like you can't compare the performance of a Springer versus a flywheeler. So this in itself is kind of its own mechanism. I'm very happy to see more of this, so it's great. I'm very happy that Buzzbee, you know, did something new, did something new for them, newer. It's not, these aren't done a lot. You know, this mechanism, I can't even recall the last time I saw one of these done like this besides the nail biter. If you know of one, let me know in the comment section. But that's really cool to me, because that's taking a chance, taking a risk, making something different, you know, because we keep seeing the same stuff over and over, especially with Nerf and the reskins. So it is refreshing to see that. So I do give it points for that. Obviously, let's address the elephant in the room. These colors are amazing. As you can see from my channel, I love retro type of 90s type of Nerf, a little bit 80s aesthetics, and this thing's got it. I'm totally digging it. So definitely I give it points for that. I mean, it's a DrFlux looking color scheme. It's great. So with all that out of the way, the performance, you know, shooting these Adventure Force darts, I'm sure the Buzzbee long distance darts probably would go a little hotter, but I'm just kind of done with them, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if they have higher FPS if they don't hit anything. So I'd rather get chronograph numbers off these, you know? Let me know in the comment section if you want me to keep doing both, but, you know, I know some people just want to see the performance of the stock blaster and with the darts that come with it, but I can tell you it's almost to the point where it's not worth our time. Just know that the waffles are way better. They're just far superior. So when shooting these waffles out of here, you know, we get a kind of 50 FPS. I noticed that the speed in which you actuate this thing does impact the FPS. So the quicker you can do it, the better the performance is. Now there's a trade-off. Now the harder and quicker you do it, the more jerking you have. So the more jerking you have, the less accuracy you have. So it's kind of a fine line. You got to kind of work at it. And I like that. I think that's cool. So when we looked at the accuracy, you know, all things considered, I think it's actually pretty accurate. And keep in mind, those shots are taken at, you know, 25, 30 feet. So not horrible. So in the end, can I recommend it? I would say yes. For the price point of what this is, I think it's a pretty solid blaster. I mean, obviously it's not going to be a competitor to like a Conquest or the Nexus Pro or the Aeon Pro or, you know, even the Dart Zone Striker. This is definitely not going to knock those down from, you know, being some of the best choices of blasters to get this year from big box stores. But it definitely is, if you're a collector, if you're into Nerf, if you're into just having fun with blasters, it's definitely worth having in your arsenal, I'd say. Well, I'm DrFlux. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you haven't noticed, this channel has reached over 20,000 subs. I greatly appreciate all of you. And I also noticed that there's a lot of people that watch my content that aren't subscribed. In fact, 90% of you. So if you could take a moment, please subscribe. It helps the channel immensely, and I greatly appreciate it. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and happy foam flinging.